How's it going, everyone? This video is on how to do an independent two-sample t-test and z-test using Excel. Okay, so this is a hypothesis test for two independent samples. So we're going to use two samples right here. We're going to call them X and Y. And what you're going to do, you're going to go to the Data tab on top and select the Data Analysis button. Now, if you don't have the Data Analysis button, you just have to change some settings to get it. I'm going to put a link to a video in the description of this video that'll show you how to get that Data Analysis button. So when you click it, there's a bunch of data analysis tools, and if you scroll to the bottom, you see some t-tests and the z-test. Okay, so we're not going to be doing the paired two-sample test. We're going to be doing the other ones, which are the independent two-sample tests. Now, Excel doesn't call them independent, it just doesn't call them paired. So we'll start with the t-test, two-sample, assuming equal variances. Okay, variances, that's your standard deviation squared. So this is the t-test that you would do if you're assuming that your two variables have equal population standard deviation or equal variance. So we click OK, and it opens up this window here. So you have to input some data. So variable 1 range, just click that up arrow and click and drag your variable 1. For variable 2 range, click that up arrow and then click and drag your variable 2. All the data in there, and click the down arrow. For hypothesized mean difference, you put whatever the hypothesized difference is between the population means of the two variables. So we'll just go with 0 here, so we're assuming there is no difference between the two population means. These numbers here are just random numbers between 0 and 9, so reasonable to assume that there's no statistically significant difference. This box labels, you check that if when you were doing your highlighting for variable ranges 1 and 2, if you also highlighted the labels. Now we did highlight the labels X and Y, so that's why this box is checked. And here alpha, you input your significance level, 0.05. That's a common significance level to use, 0.05. Then you want to make sure output range is checked, and then click the up arrow for that and just click where you want the output to be. Click the down arrow and then you click OK. And your output appears. So first we have a breakdown for the two separate variables, the mean value, the variance, again that's standard deviation squared, and the observations, number of observations, number of data points for each of those variables, 16 and 14. And of course this is the sample variance, right? Because the data is taken from a sample. And then you have your pooled variance. Okay, so because we're assuming equal variances for both of these random variables, well, whatever that one variance is, or whatever that one standard deviation is, that population standard deviation, the data from one variable and the data from the other variable are actually both contributing information about that one single variance, that one single standard deviation. So we actually calculate this pooled variance, okay? And that's used in calculation of the test static. Now in this video, I'm not going to go into how test statics are calculated and all that, but you can find other videos on statistics in the statistics lectures playlist. And those videos get into how test statics are calculated and what hypothesis testing is and all of that. Then we have our hypothesized mean difference that we input as 0. We have our degrees of freedom, which is just the two sample sizes added up and 2 subtracted from there. So 30 minus 2 gives you 28. And then we have our test static, our critical values, and our p-values. I'm just going to bring those down to 3 decimal places so it's easier to read. So we have our test static 0.3 0.358. We have for one tail our p-value and our critical value, and for two tails we have our p-value and our critical value. Whether you use the one-tail results or the two-tail results, depending on whether you're conducting a one-tail or a two-tailed test. Now for the critical values, Excel gives you the positive values. It's up to you to decide whether you should be using the positive or negative of those critical values. Okay, so if you're doing a two-tailed test, well then you know that there's actually two critical values, the positive and negative of this number. If you're doing a one-tailed test, depending on if it's a left tail or a right tail, well then you would know that this one-tail critical value should be either negative or positive. In our case here, whichever number of tails you're using, the test static 0.358 does not reach the critical values of 1.701 or 2.048, so we do not reject the null hypothesis. So we stick to our hypothesis that the population means are in fact equal. The difference between them is in fact 0. If you prefer the p-value method, well there's your p-values. Either way, the p-values are greater than the significance level alpha of 0.05. So again, we do not reject the null hypothesis. We continue assuming that the difference between the population means is 0. So that's the t-test for two samples, assuming equal variances. If you don't assume equal variances, the process is actually very similar. We go to Data, Data Analysis, and we select t-test two sample assuming unequal variances. We click OK, and we follow the exact same process. For variable range 1, up arrow, highlight variable 1 data, down arrow. Variable range 2, up arrow, highlight variable range 2, down arrow. Hypothesized mean difference. Okay, what do you assume the difference is between the population means of these variables? Let's stick with 0. Labels should be checked if you highlighted the labels, X and Y, or whatever your random variables are called, when you were highlighting for variable 1 and 2 ranges. If you did not highlight the labels, this checkbox should not be checked. Alpha, 0.05, let's keep it at that. Output range, make sure that's selected. Up arrow, select where you want the output to be. Down arrow, and you can click OK. The same process as before. So we click OK, and there's our results. Now, because we assumed unequal variances, we don't have the pooled variance like we did in the previous situation. We still have our mean value, our variances, our number of observations for the two variables, hypothesized mean difference. Notice the degrees of freedom is a little bit different. Now you should also note that how Excel calculates degrees of freedom might be different than how you are asked to calculate degrees of freedom, depending on what course you're in or what organization you're working for or what your goals of accuracy are in general. There's different guidelines for how degrees of freedom, or different policies for how degrees of freedom should be calculated in different situations. How Excel calculates it might be different than how you were taught to do it, so keep that in mind when using these tools. So then we have test static, critical values, p-values. I'm going to bring this down to 3 decimal places again. Now, because our degrees of freedom is different, we have slightly different numbers here. Okay. We also have different numbers because, well, we're not using a pooled variance like in the situation where we assumed equal variances. So our test static, it's 0.356, a little bit different here. Our one-tailed p-value and critical value are here. Two-tailed p-value and critical value are here. Notice the numbers are a little bit different than the results over here. And again, the critical values are given as positive based on the kind of hypothesis test you're doing. It's up to you to decide whether you should be looking at the positive or negative values. And your p-values are there too. And in our case, again, whichever kind of test you're doing, one-tail or two-tail, your test static does not reach the critical values, so your null hypothesis is not rejected. Your p-values are greater than your significance level alpha, 0.05, so again, your null hypothesis is not rejected, so we can stick to the hypothesis that the mean difference is 0. Okay, the population means of these two variables, you can assume that they are the same. So what we have left then is the z-test. Now, an important note here is when Excel calculates your test static, when they're subtracting information about one variable from the other, they're doing variable 1 minus variable 2. Okay, so look at our mean values here. Okay, variable 1 is larger, the mean value is larger than what it is for variable 2, and we have a positive test static. Okay, now depending on how you prefer to do your hypothesis test, right? Maybe you prefer taking variable 2 and subtracting variable 1. Okay, so subtracting the mean values that way. Well, then your test static would actually be negative in that situation for these numbers. So for the test static, also keep in mind that Excel might give you the positive or negative value depending on which variable you list first, and maybe you'd prefer it the other way around. Okay, so maybe you'd prefer to think of the test static as negative, or Excel, if it gives you a negative test static, maybe you'd prefer thinking of it as positive. So keep that in mind when looking at these numbers. When Excel calculates test static, it takes the information for variable 1, in this case the mean value, and subtracts the information from variable 2. That's how Excel does it. You might prefer to do it differently, in which case you have to keep in mind that difference between your calculation and Excel's calculation. And this is good for all computational tools, right? You have to keep in mind how it's doing the computation and not just read the results blindly. So let's do the z-test. Data analysis, and to sample for means z-test. We click OK. Very similar situation, variable 1 range, select the data for variable 1, variable 2 range, select the data for variable 2. Hypothesized mean difference, let's stick with 0. But then you got to put in the variances for variable 1 and variable 2, because if you're using the z-test, it means you know the population variances. So you put whatever those population variances are. Let's go with 3.7 and 4 for x and y respectively. Again, labels has to be checked if you highlighted the labels, x and y in our case. Significance level 0.05, we'll stick to that. Output range selected. Select where you want the output to be. Let's go up arrow, and that's a good place. Down arrow and click OK. And there's your output. Okay, so we have our mean values for x and y. We have the variances that we put in. We have the number of observations, number of data points, hypothesized mean difference that we input. Notice we don't have degrees of freedom in this case because it's a z-test. We don't use degrees of freedom. Z value, that is your test static, and then you have your p-values and critical values. So again, I'll bring the decimal places down to 3. So there's our test static, 0.422. If we compare it to our one-tail critical value, it does not reach 1.645. If we compare it to our two-tail critical value, it does not reach 1.96. So our null hypothesis is not rejected. Just like in the previous cases, Excel gives the positives of the critical values. It's up to you to know whether you should be considering the positives or negatives. And for the test static, Excel takes the mean value of variable 1, subtracts the mean value of variable 2 as part of calculation of the test static. If you prefer it the other way around, variable 2 minus variable 1, well then the sign of the test static would be different. So keep that in mind as well. And of course you have your p-values for 1 or 2 tails. They are both greater than our significance level alpha, 0.05. So again, null hypothesis is not rejected. We can stick to the hypothesis that the population mean difference is 0, that the population means of these two variables are equal. So that is how you do hypothesis testing for two independent samples in Excel, whether you're doing the t-test or the z-test, whether your t-test has the assumption of equal variances or not. So hopefully that helps you, and until next time.